Well, I started bending up some steel to put in here. I'm probably going to have to hammer it down. And one of the disadvantages of using like a gel epoxy, put something down, is you can't hammer it and tack weld it as you go along. But I'm gonna try to like pop rivet it, or use tech screws and then replace them with freaking pop rivets as it goes down. And I kind of made this piece, it fits in there pretty good. It's got a couple sort of weird ass bends in it. Doesn't quite fit absolutely flat, but I used 18 gauge because you know, if you try to use 16 gauge for that floor, forget it, man. You're not going to be bending that stuff too easy. Some people use 20 gauge, but 18 gauge is okay. I think the original floor material is 16, but we're going to be dealing with this. I'm going to be coating it. First, I'm going to chemically clean it. I'm going to coat it with chassis saver. Then after that dries, I'll grind off the chassis saver, and that'll be the part where it glues on. And this will have all chassis saver on both sides of it, so you know, it'll be impervious to rust. And I just use this this thing with my big ass hammer, which is over here. Just tapped it, kind of shaped it by hand, and I got this other plate all set for the back hole, and there's a little hole and a big hole left. And once I'm going to try to install these tomorrow and see what happens. But first, we're going to clean these off with some awesome cleaner, and I'll leave the rust on them. You know, just going to hose them off, make sure there's no grease on there. And we'll put the chassis saver on it. And I'll blow them off with the freaking leaf blower, and just put the chassis saver on it and let them dry. And we'll be, you know, I'm going to grind around the edge where the epoxy is going to go, like all around in here. But this part will all have chassis saver, so the water from up on the inside shouldn't freaking affect nothing. I don't think it'll ever rust out again. And we'll rivet it down. See how this goes tomorrow. But if you're shaping some kind of metal, you really don't want to go with 16 gauge. I mean, unless you're using something other than a body, because 16 gauge is pretty damn hard to work with. The 18 gauge is not that lightweight, but probably even 20 gauge might even work too, as long as you can make it so it doesn't rust proof. It's rust proofed, you know, it's not going to rust. Okay, so they're coated on both sides. That's the bottom side, so I let that up. So I'm going to let it sit there for 24 hours, and I'm going to grind around on the floor, grind around the edge where the epoxy is going to go, and install them. Not sure if I'm probably going to put them in just with the straight pop rivets, press them down hard and drill them, and put them in with this shit. It'll probably work okay. And fill it up with some freaking undercoating and crap, make sure it doesn't, no water gets through there, but I don't think it will. So anyway, the way I reseal these cans is I just put a double piece of tape over the hole where I smacked it through the freaking you know, with the screwdriver on this chassis saver, and it doesn't dry out, man. That's the way it works fine for me. So not bad. Quick and dirty. Body shop wouldn't do all this rust proofing, and if they were going to do a job that was like really good, they would replace the whole floor, and it'd be costing more than the whole car's worth. You know what I mean? The hell with that shit. This is cheap, and it'll last. Well, you can see back there, I put the steel plate over that, and I sprayed some flat black paint around here, so I know where to grind, because I'm going to grind some of that shiny metal so the epoxy sticks, and it'll be epoxy with pop rivets, same thing with over here, which is under this. I don't know if you can see that. I made a piece that fits in there nice, and it's all coated up with chassis saver. So I'm gonna see if I can dig out some longer pop rivets. Yeah, this is how I'm gonna get this plate all sandwiched up in here really good, because the The one thing about when you're using epoxy and rivets is like you want to really squish the metal together and get out all the air. So I got a little piece of wood down here. This is just a cheap old bottle jack, and there's a piece of wood on the top where I'm jacking it up against the floor of the El Camino on the bed, and just enough to bend it down so it's going to knock out all the gaps. And I'll move it around and I'll just rivet, and after this is riveted, I'll put the piece of wood, that wood under here, push this down, rivet it, and then yeah, it'll be pretty damn airtight. I don't know if there's a hole here. No, there's no hole there. There's a little hole here, but I'll do the same method there. And once I get that done, I don't know if I could just use seam sealer in here. There's a couple spots. There'll just be this hole, one hole on the side. These little things won't take long. I use that with the I'll use the tiny one here, little hole here. There's a hole someplace else, but I'll just fill that in with the panel adhesive epoxy, and maybe a tiny piece of metal. That'll be solid as shit. So it'll be more secure than it ever was before. So that's a little tip there, because you want to make sure, you know, you got that. You don't really have any air gaps in that when you put the epoxy in here with the rivets. And I found these are, I'm going to use the 1/8 inch rivets, little 1/8 inch ones. These are 3/8 of an inch long. They're plenty long enough. And I'm going to use this little handheld gun, and I'll be able to get in there no problem with the drill, and this handheld gun will do the job. So it'll be strong as shit, man. So I think it'll be better than welding, because welding, you always got, unless you're a really good welder and you really, you know, hermetically seal that seam, there's always a place where you can get that freaking, you know, water through the weld, right? So this will be pretty damn solid. And I'll be probably doing this tomorrow, because I was going to do it today, man, but like I said, I was too damn tired for that lemon detox, man. I was like crapped out, but I've still been doing shit. Still been doing stuff.